Hello! How's it going, viewers and myth fans old and new? This is Par 73. Today I will be bringing you a blast from the past. We will be looking at some fairly ancient games at the very dawn of esports. Back in 1998, a grand tournament was hosted known as the Myth World Cup, and it was hosted on the Myth the Fallen Lords. Its follow-up tournament was hosted on Myth 2 Soulblighter, which came out a year later. This tournament, Myth World Cup 1999, was the grandest of its time and ever constructed for the game and its players. Created by one of the Bungie net admins, Chris Butcher, Myth World Cup 1996 had 96 teams who duked it out on the battlefields of Myth 2. Now, at this point in the tournament, there's only 16 teams remaining. Some teams are being eliminated as we speak in the bottom bracket. Meanwhile, in the top bracket, we have a battle between the Fellowship of Stoneheim and the Sabre Rummers. Now, these two orders were fairly familiar with each other, despite the fact that the Sabre Rummers were using some alternate identities. Now, introducing the teams, we'll start with the green team, Fellowship of Stoneheim, led by Poohbeard, also known as Pooh Bear, Yellow Molly, who's also Moliere, Rumox, who was Flamox, Moby Dick, who was Mobits, El Pegboy is El Bastard, Baristic was also known as Ballistic, and Ol At-I was Atkinson. Meanwhile, for the Sabre Rummers, we have Blackbeard, who I'm not so sure who Blackbeard was. His name might have actually been Blackbeard. But among him is Pete the Cabin Boy, also known as Neurotic, who was also in Fellowship of Stoneheim. The Scurvy Dog, who is Wayward One, another member of the Fellowship of Stoneheim. Then we have Whitey, who was, I believe his name was Conch or Karch, and Yellow Belly. The fifth player present for the Sabre Rummers went by the name of Odin. So in this 5-on-7 matchup, although it looks like it's 5-on-7, Yellow Molly taking some units for Fellowship of Stoneheim. The teams will be facing off on the map Cracks on the Cloud Spine on the game type Capture the Flag. This is one of the default maps created by Bungie. It has a series of twists and turns, various high grounds with very limited entrances and exits. As the game starts, let's take a look at the strategies the teams will be employing against each other today. Both teams are looking to send their opponents to the bottom bracket with their first elimination and match loss following the qualifying rounds. So as you'll see, we have a fairly light defense for the Sabre Rummers, but they are getting out to quite a head start here. Looks like Wayward 1 will be taking over that defense. He's on thrall duty. He's got a nice flashy journeyman and a dwarf, and oh my goodness, can you believe it? First match of the Myth World Cup 1999 we'll be chronologically viewing. It's going to feature some pussing. Who would have believed it? Because the way people talk about Myth nowadays, they didn't invent pussing until after Bungie Net went down. I can't believe it. Looks like someone's base caught fire. And Sabre Rummers pressing forward through mid with their collective force. They have the area scouted. With Wayward 1's goals, they're keeping an eye out for any enemy offensive movement, and the Fellowship of Stoneheim are playing very passive and defensive. It's almost as if they know that Sabre Rummers will be the aggressors in this game, and with 14 minutes left, there's plenty of time for them to make their way over to this flag. An interesting thing of note is how long games used to be. When tournaments were played in, say, 1998, 1999, whereas this game was 16 minutes long. Now most games are only 10 or 12 minutes long. How the meta has changed, as we also have cracks on the cloud spine being used with CTF, so you might not see action for quite some while until Sabre Rummers feel comfortable surrounding the enemy fortress and going in for a late game push. It looks like Ballistic is going to be meeting up with Pete the Cabin Boy. He's going to move his units back. Sabre Rummers doing what they can to effectively push and not give up too many units to get by their front line. Now this is for multiple reasons. Obviously you don't want your flag being captured by the enemy, but at the same time it looks like Blackbeard's gonna get chased off after harassing Odin with some defensive archers by Movits. What I was saying though was not only would it be bad to lose your flag to some sort of sneak flank, but Myth World Cup 1999 employed a point scoring system which involved the ratio of unit trading units between two teams on a flag contested, and it would result in various point values being assigned. Now for fully capturing a flag it would be 15 points, but if you were able to contest with less than a 50% ratio of units, say you had let's say you had three thrall on your flag defensively, and your opponent came and brought one thrall to your flag and it was contested, that would award them 2 points due to it being less than a 50% ratio between the value of the unit trading points. 5 points would be awarded to achieving 50 points up to 74 points. 8 points was awarded for 75 to 99 percentage in ratio, And if you had over 100% contest, I mean, this would even be if they say, for example, you left one thrall on your flag and your opponent brought a single warrior to contest it. Well, that condition would be 10 points. And it's interesting how that scoring pans out, as later it was readjusted by future tournament organizers to reflect more of a body count type game with percentages remaining. And in light of the scoring system used in this tournament, I think it would have been interesting to see different ratios. Perhaps only 5 points for 100% contest. I mean, you could do the 10 points could be worth a 300% contest. Being able to hold on to your flag in that condition, it just seems very unlikely. So for you to not get the capture there, I mean, I think it would just encourage teams to be a little more risky, as we really don't have much action going on here. The teams are really just shaving off each other's scouting utilities. And it looks like Whitey will be moving in to face off with Baristic. El Pegboy supporting him. But hey, the scoring system is what it is, and it is also encouraging some safe and smart play out of these teams. And with half of the game remaining, Sabre Rummers have comfortably pushed up against their opponent's base. Now, I don't think a unit has actually been taken off the map yet, as I have forgotten that a white was healed earlier on. Let's see if we can spot these Puskulls out, and we can. El Pegboy, aka El Bastard. We'll see how well he can control those goals. This Blackbeard's moving in, and he doesn't want to auto. Yeah, he's in full control of that situation. And Fellowship just biding their time here. And it looks like Odin has moved around this northwest area. He has now pinned El Pegboy and Baristic. And Odin and Yellow Belly set up an interesting pinching scenario here. Fellowship might try to make a break for it now. It looks like they have a satchel puss going on. Yellow Molly, he's Moliere starting to advance his units along here, maybe going for a contest. We'll have to see what happens. So let's presume this goal dies. There's no more that catch up, as we have some lull in the action as Ballistic forces Whitey's archers back with just 2 Stygians. Stygians, of course, the perfect counters to range precision units like archers and Solus. Let's see, we got 3 warriors at 6 points, and a Stygian knight is 3 points, so that's 9 total. So let's say they came and contested this flag. The journeyman is 6 points, the dwarf is 6 points, so it's 12 to 9 right there. They won't be able to make 75. And you have another 6 points here, so it's 18 to 9. They'd only be able to get off 50% contest, and actually because there's this one additional thrall, they would have less than a 50% chance. I mean, 50% ratio. And with Blackbeard's looming goal pack, who looks like they'll be shadowing them all the way home. Oh, looks like we got a satchel puss going on here. With the coordination of the puss goals there, AFK, and a little better timing would have set up a pretty nice play there. As he might just auto his puss here. Oh, that's his melee. Wow, I'm really bad at this. And Wayward One and Blackbeard looking to clean up these units here. But yeah, with that looming goal pack and plus the reinforcing troops, no contest will be possible at all. And it definitely would have been much less than 50%. So you see right there the scoring system in play, and Sabre Rummers had to push out before FS really grew some cojones to step foot outside of their base, as Yellow Molly now is out looking for some revenge on his warrior there. And we'll go check out the chat, as it looks like Yellow Belly is pretty confident his team will be able to capture the FS flag in this scenario. We can just leave that up for the rest of the game, and probably the rest of these matches. And LPEG Boys goal pack moving back towards the home D. Yellow Molly constantly pressured by Blackbeard. He's making a good decision there, just to keep those units in check. As Molly's bringing out the full offense. Lots of artillery on the defense for the Fellowship. And Odin will be moving in after losing some archers. But it looks like with Pooh Bear's dwarf out of position at the moment, he's going to be able to move all his units into their backfield and potentially contest that flag. And as its main defenders is Thrall and Dwarf, this contest might be pretty legitimate. I'll have to consider the scoring after a few seconds. But let me bring you to this action over here, because now Fellowship is starting to pressure this flag a little bit. They're going to net 2 points for the team right there. And we'll see how this push turns out as Ballistic and Molly combine their forces. Odin's Dwarf's going to get wiped out right there. I'm able to return just in time. And Rummock's Dwarf is going to be saved by the lights of Old Atkinson. And they are supporting and complementing each other's abilities, as we got a full onslaught over here. El Pegboy trying again for the satchel pass. And Whitey wiping out most of his own melee there. Pete the Captain Boy is going to have to be quick to come in support. Unfortunately, the units are not split up very evenly, and ooh, that shot by Whitey is pretty damn amazing, and these two archers are gonna save his units. Maybe that's why they didn't need any melee support at all. Very nice play. I am surprised there. That was pretty funky, and it looks like the Fellowship's push is going to be pushed back. Percentage is dropping. Both teams. Odin unable to come within range of anything, even a 2%.
30 seconds remaining.
Advantage. And another element to the scoring, let me add, is you also get 1 point for every 10% remaining. So you'll notice teams back off and play passive here, and that is going to put them... That loss of a unit by
Game
Odin
over.
is going to put their score below 50, unfortunately. And just like that, they lost a point, as Blackbeard noted with a sigh. So, concluding the action here in Game 1 on Cracks CTF. Yellow Molly leading the game in damage with 88. Pete the Cabin Boy leading the game in kills with 16. And 0 losses. Very nice play. Able to keep all of his units alive. The most amazing play I saw was by Whitey over here, bouncing a dwarf shot off of a melee unit. He obviously at least intended to try to take that melee unit out, and somehow there was this magical bounce that took out the remaining pressuring melee forces of Yellow Molly out, and it saved the rest of his units. I thought that was pretty damn cool. This was a pretty long game. We're gonna go through the stats individually real quick. Pooh Bear, no stats, but directing his team, his forces, plus he has full confidence in his fellowship to get the job done. Next we have Yellow Molly, as stated previously, leading the game in damage, 9 and 20, 88 damage. Rumox 8 and 0, pretty damn good ratios. Same with Moby Dick and Atkinson. Technically, they all have the same ratio there, having not lost any units. Pegboy coming up 3 and 7, trying to get off that satchel pus bomb all game long, but unable to actually nail it down. Unfortunate. We could have saw a little bit more carnage, but it is what it is. Maybe he'll aim for that strategy again on the next map, as it will be repeated, as was the format in the Myth World Cup. At the top bracket matches, you play 5. There's only 3 maps selected per week. The bottom bracket matches would play the 3, and the top bracket matches would repeat the first map and the second map played. So I added a different strategy element. We'll have to see if he goes for another satchel plus bomb, or if they give up on that next game, because I'd like to see him succeed in that aspect. And Ballistic 5 and 6, 23. Another commendable job. Down here for the Sabre Rummers, Blackbeard 2 and 9 with the Shadowing Gold Pack, 20 damage. A lot of his losses came from just scouting losses and keeping the pressure. Pete the Cabin Boy 16 and 0, best ratios in the game, 63 damage. The Flex and Whitey 12 and 11, 65. Odin, Yellow Belly 1 and 13 with 22 damage. And finally, Scurvy Dog Wayward 1 with the Thrall Defense, 11 damage. Holding it down for his team. I really do not recall the Sabre Rummers able to get off a contest. So considering the percentages they have remaining, 49% would net them 4 points. And let's see, with 50% remaining, you would have 5 points for the Fellowship, and they also would, I believe they got a two-point contest, right? So I will double check the scoring really quickly, but it looks like we have 4-2. And 4-7, 4-6. Yeah, a 4-7 victory in favor of the Fellowship. Now, neither team actually captured their opponent's flag for the big points here, so there's only a 3-point differential between this game. We'll have to see how the next one goes. Maybe we can get a little bit more myth music in the mix. This is a fairly quiet map, and also a fairly slow map. The teams heated up the action after initially scouting each other out in the first 10 minutes or so of the game, or at least the first half of the game. And yeah, 7-4 Fellowship over Sabre in game 1 of the top bracket in the 4th round of the Myth World Cup 1999. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Enjoy all the future videos that will be coming up. I will be finishing the rest of the series. We'll be able to explore the runs of these two teams, as after the next 2 to 3, maybe 4 games, we will know which team will be proceeding onwards in the top bracket, and we will know which team will be headed to the bottom bracket. And if you know anything about double elimination brackets, then I don't need to tell you, but for everyone else out there who lives normal lives, staying in the top bracket is a good thing, and it essentially means you have a 1-loss match buffer between you and being eliminated from the competition. So these two teams will keep it competitive. We will see what happens at the end of the day. Thank you for joining me on this adventure, and if there's any of you out there who participated in this event, feel free to introduce yourself and say hello. And everyone else who would like to provide some commentary, I would truly enjoy it, and I'm sure the others who come and stumble upon these videos will as well. So feel free to provide feedback, and thank you, and we will see you in game 2. Stay tuned.